Rude's ultimate attack is cutting the enemy in two halves, and he succeeds at pulling it off. Rude is on the verge of collapsing. He is just able to talk to Alicia. When she is about to cast healing magic on him, he tells her to not push herself any more than she has already done. Rude explains that he possesses a skill called Bloodlust, which he can use to recover, though it only heals him a little. He got this skill from the hidden labyrinth. After regaining some of his energy, he and Alicia take a little break by lying flat on the ground. They are happy and surprised that they were able to fight and win against the miasma dragon. Alicia adds that this is just the start of their adventures. They are about to explore more. Hearing an S-rank talking about adventures with him reminds him of the adventurer who saved him when he was just a kid. He remembers that the hero who saved him was strong, far stronger than he currently is. Traditionally, Rude eats some monster meat, and then they agree to explore the deepest part of the dungeon. On the deepest floor, they find the labyrinth's core. Alicia reveals that even among adventurers, only a handful have had the privilege of seeing it. She also divulges that if they use the magic circle that is in front of the core, they will be sent back to the labyrinth's entrance immediately. Seeing the core burning bright, Alicia says that it's normal to leave the core unbroken, even if someone clears it. Moreover, he can fetch the materials that he can't gather outside and leave if he wants to. However, he doesn't want the dragon to resurrect, because as long as the core remains, the dragon's resurrection is inevitable. Rude went through hell in the Abellio labyrinth, but thanks to those experiences, a path to his dream opened up. He finally breaks the core. In the Bologna, Guildmaster Lankars wants reports on Rude and Alicia's progress. He is informed that there are no reports on their return yet. Inside, Lankars was aware that Rude was known as Miasma Scavenger. In the words of adventurers, power is everything. Even if Lankars had tried to mediate the situation, it wouldn't have stopped. If that was enough to make him give up his dreams, then that too is another path. While Lankars is contemplating what to do next, he abruptly receives a report about Rude and Alicia's return through a teleportation circle. The reporter reports that the subjugation of the miasma dragon and the destruction of the dungeon core was successful. Rude and Alicia did it. Lankars is surprised but happy more than that. He never thought Rude, the infamous miasma scavenger, would end up saving the city. The guild then welcomes the heroes who saved the city of Bologna from a level 75 threat. In Golar, a city near Bologna, the lord of the city is furious over the matter of Bologna destroying the labyrinths. He planned on seizing ownership of the labyrinth, which isn't possible anymore. However, his advisor, the second-in-command, thinks that this destruction of the Abellio labyrinth is better for them, because Bologna could not deny the legitimacy of Golar's claims of ownership. Because of that, they have decided that destroying it is better than handing it over. With that being the situation, he believes that they could argue with Bologna Guild and have them compensate. The Lord also has positives about that plan. He also thinks that it would be a better way to profit than by challenging the labyrinth themselves and losing the adventurers in the process. Though the Lord is quite sure that if it happens, the Bologna Guild won't stay quiet. The advisor says that he wants to show the guildmaster who is superior. Elsewhere, Rudy and Alicia are out in the wilderness. Rude is cooking his usual monster essence, but this time it's the rare miasma dragon steak. Rude kept miasma dragons reserved in his bag. He is now happy to be tasting something so rare. Rude goes crazy after the first bite. He reveals that every meat he has had so far pales in comparison to the miasma dragon's meat. It has a rich, sweet flavor, and the fat just melts on the tongue. As he is explaining how delicious the food he is savoring is, Alicia is drooling like usual. She stands up and says that tonight they are going to have some premium steak, and she needs Rude's help in the location for the best food. Rude tells her that he is in the middle of eating the steak and can't help her. Alicia replies that they need to hurry and gather information on good restaurants around the city, so he should finish already. Following the collapse of the Abellio labyrinth, 4 days have passed. The guildmaster Lankars has summoned our adventurers to finalize the reports on the raid. After the report completion, Lankars hands them their rewards, 1.5 million Regan. Rude is stunned to see that big of a sum. Lankras explains that the required level for the Abellio LA3 Byrinth is 70, so the amount Rude and Alicia have received is fair and well-deserved. After handing him the reward, he informs Rude that they will be updating his rank, because just the two of them conquered that labyrinth all by themselves. Rude was recently promoted to D rank. He is quite surprised that his rank will be re-evaluated once again. He is already a level 52 adventurer. Alicia thinks that even if he has been fighting monsters way above his level, the speed at which he is growing is abnormal. Normally, if an adventurer reaches level 40, their leveling slows down immensely. Alicia catches him grinning when she looks his way. Before she can figure out why, Rude smugly discloses that he's finally surpassed her level. She opens her level window, revealing her level, which is level 45. Rude says that even if he may be higher in level when it comes to combat power, she is still stronger. She agrees that the levels are just an indicator. In the end, combat power is mostly defined by the skills and experience of that person. As they are talking about levels, they notice the Lord of Golar entering through the main entrance of their guild. The Lord recognizes Rude as the miasma scavenger in an instant. Convinced that the man before him is a disrespectful person, Rude inquires about his identity. The Lord makes snarking remarks that the adventurers of Bologna do not even know the faces of their neighboring city's lords. Rude seems to have heard about the misery Lord of the Golar. After an indirect introduction, the Lord starts pestering Rude for destroying the labyrinth. Rude replies that the last time he heard about the ownership of the Abellio labyrinth, it was jointly owned. The Lord reveals that the Abellio labyrinth was on the border between the Golar and Bologna. However, Bologna shut them out, claiming that something strange was happening inside the labyrinth. On top of that, they even caused an influx of monsters to appear, and then they destroyed the labyrinth. He asks Rude how are they going to compensate Golar City for the profits that they were supposed to gain from the labyrinth and the damage to their surrounding territories because of the monsters. Alicia interrupts the Lord and tells him that these kinds of matters should be settled by the guild representatives. Moreover, she remarks that there haven't been any reports of monsters flooding Golar's territories, and it should have been reported already that several of Bologna's adventurers have already dealt with the situation. She then questions who granted the people who didn't contribute to anything the right to speak. Rude isn't surprised that Alicia is eloquent with her words. She is an experienced S-ranked adventurer after all. The guildmaster from Golar, the second in command, recognizes Alicia of the Emerald Stone. He heard rumors about her being affiliated with Bologna and now has confirmed it with his very own eyes. The guildmaster insults Alicia without any filter, remarking that seeing as how she should have eaten away by the curse of the Abyssal Labyrinth, it would only make sense for someone like her to be suited for the likes of Bologna. Rude recalls a vague memory of him being the guild master of Golar. The guild master from Golar also acknowledges that mere adventurers should not have a say in this matter. He gets closer to Alicia and whispers in her ear that she is a worthless survivor from a party that died in vain, so she should stop sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. He finishes his sentence by emphasizing calling her trash. The guildmaster's comments trigger her to activate her magic. The pressure in the room increases, and he, the mighty guildmaster, feels intimidated by a declining adventurer whose level has been lowered to level 45. The guildmaster of Bologna, Leinkars, intervenes and stops the situation from getting any worse. He says that he won't tolerate any fighting within his guild, and tells the Lord and the guildmaster to follow him. Even when following Leinkars, the guildmaster from Golar continues to make disrespectful comments to Alicia. When the guests leave for the guildmaster's office, a new guest calls out Alicia's name to get her attention. He appears to be an elf with a distinctive, beautiful face. This guy asks Alicia if she remembers him. Rude had enough of dealing with troublesome people. He doesn't want to get into any more trouble. Alicia refers to him as Ebert, indicating that she is already familiar with him. When Rude asks her if she knows him, she explains that he is from an old party. They used to go on adventures together. Ebert says that he used to admire azure trails, especially Alicia, who as a fellow elf inspired him with her special ability to cast multiple elementals simultaneously. He also seems to be aware of her curse and how much she has suffered because of that. He reveals that he came to Bologna only to invite her to join his party. Alicia declines his offer, saying that she already has formed a new party. She tries to introduce Rude, and when Rude extends his hand for a handshake, Ebert slaps his hand, indicating that he has no interest in being friends, or more accurately being acquainted with Rude. Ebert completely ignores Rude and proceeds to talk with Alicia. He tells Alicia how sorry he feels for her because she, an S-rank, ended up with someone known as Miasma Scavenger. He believes he can put good use of her skills and experience if she joins his party. This angers her slightly bit. She distances herself from him and tells him to not say something that he doesn't even understand. She willingly formed a party with Rude, and any insults against her party members were an insult to her. Although she may be furious, she doesn't forget to thank someone who tried to look out for her. Additionally, she also discloses that the curse placed on her has also been removed. Ebert doesn't believe it, because that curse was from the SS rank Abyssal Labyrinth. The boss that cursed her resides on the top floor of the labyrinth. She implicitly implies that she had a fortune encounter with somebody, which sends Ebert contemplating. To top it off, she remarks that they would be going to reevaluate Rude's rank, so he won't be an ordinary C rank or D rank. Seeing Alicia caring about Rude, even though he has been thinking about her this whole time, Ebert concludes that Rude must be instigating Alicia. In the first place, he doesn't even believe that Rude took down the Miasma dragon, though it would be a different story if Alicia's curse was lifted. He assumes that Alicia must have solely taken it down, and the Miasma Scavenger is stealing the credit for her achievements. While leaving, Rude tells Alicia that Ebert is grazing at him like crazy. Alicia enlightens him that elves are a prideful race, and there are many of them whose prejudice becomes harsher throughout their long lives. Rude asks her if she is also one of those prejudiced and prideful types. Alicia thinks of herself as a very humble, understanding, and charming elf. This statement makes her appear as a prideful kind of elf like Abert. After this, Rude and Alicia fetch Rude's new rank documents. The receptionist informs him that he has skipped past C rank and is officially a B rank now. The increase in his level is a testament to how difficult Abellio Labyrinth's quest was. She discloses that the guild also received reports from the villagers they saved. So expectedly, the defeat of the Baphomet has been taken into account. Riegert and Magnus also congratulate Rude for obtaining a B rank. They tell him that everyone in the town is grateful to him. Seeing him excited and fulfilled, Alicia divulges that he shouldn't be satisfied with just reaching B rank. After all, his aim should be to become an S rank adventurer. Rude and Alicia cheer, motivating one another to aim for the S rank. The prideful elf Ebert once again ruins their moment. He says that something foolish can't be forgiven. The information one can obtain about dungeons depends on the rank. This is a rule established for the safety of the adventurers. And yet a man who didn't contribute in anything and followed others achieved a B rank. He triggers everyone when he comments that the Bologna Guild is full of idiots. In response, the receptionist discloses that ranks up can be awarded by the guild at their discretion. Magnus asks Abert to take back the words he said if he doesn't want to get hurt. Abert repeats the clause, instead of apologizing. Enraged, Magnus grabs him from his collar, but before he can manage to do anything, Abert sends him flying. Magnus is further pinned down by Ebert's sword. The prideful elf apprises Magnus to refrain from touching him with his dirty hands. Alicia asks Ebert to stop causing trouble. He thinks that Alicia is just being kind to a homeless man like Magnus. Ebert gets that he is prideful, and when he decides to do something he doesn't change his mind very easily, but still has the wrong idea about himself. He believes that he is a humble, understanding, and charming elf, and as someone from the same race, he thinks that he is the only one who can show her the right way. Rude laughs at hearing Ebert repeat the same words as Alicia. He is convinced that the elves in general have a high sense of pride. Out of nowhere, Ebert challenges Rude, remaking that he, an incompetent adventurer, is a danger to other adventurers. He wants to test out if Rude deserves to be a B rank. Alicia responds positively. She tells Ebert that he can see for himself how strong Rude is. After this, the prideful elves and the miasma scavenger join the Bologna Guild's training grounds. Alicia apologizes for dragging Rudy into this. Rude tells her that she is not one at fault here. The things got to this point because he is incompetent. All Rude needs to do is beat the challenger and prove that he is worthy of being by her side. In the end, adventurers are people who can silence others with their strength. Before the fight starts, Alicia announces that if either of the fighters is seriously injured, she will step in and stop the fight. As soon as the fight starts, the elf charges at Rude, showcasing his incredible speed and strength. Rude wasn't anticipating Ebert to make an explosive start, though he blocked the attack. Ebert doesn't relent and continues to display remarkable swordsmanship, not even letting Rude breathe for a moment. Rude comes to realize that Ebert is superior to him in swordsmanship, and earlier he heard from Alicia that Ebert uses both offensive magic and enhancement magic in combat. Simply, he is a magic swordsman who uses haste and physical boost. Ebert abruptly disappears and reappears behind Rude, catching him off guard with a sword strike. Rude couldn't follow Ebert's movements with his eyes, and hence took a hit. Ebert reveals he is a B rank. It's a title that only those with at least this level of power should be allowed to hold. After demonstrating his power, Ebert makes a statement that Rude isn't worthy of holding the title of a B rank and staying by Alicia's side. Rude admits that he isn't worthy of standing next to Alicia with his current abilities, but it wasn't him who chose to stay by her side. Alicia was the one who chose him. Rude says that he is going to show him why he is worthy of being by her side. This time Rude initiates the fight using principles of earth magic. Ebert calls him an idiot for thinking that he can win against him. A magic specialist, through magic. Ebert responds by using a fire attack, which creates an explosion. Following the fire attack, the elf cooks up another one of his special magic attacks. However, Graham absorbs all the magic energy from Ebert's attacks, and discloses that he expected him to compete with magic. After all, elves are a pretty prideful race. Rude takes the lead with his mana-recharged blade, and achieves incredible speed and strength. When Ebert calls Rude's blade a magic sword, Rude tells him that he is wrong. It's a cursed sword. Rude grazes Ebert with his sword, but in response, Ebert calls him a freak for carrying a cursed sword. He has now found another reason to resent Rude. He activates the lightning attribute enchantment magic sword technique and attains extraordinary speed that Rude isn't able to follow. After this technique, Ebert enables lightning palm skill to send electricity throughout Rude's entire body. After nearly burning Rude with his back-to-back lightning attacks, he asks Alicia to call out the winners. What the prideful elf expected the least happens. Rude grabs him from his collar and divulges that lightning's attacks don't work on him. He absorbed paralysis through status abnormality in just the nick of time. Shocked, Abert remarks that Rude should have been paralyzed when hit by that much lightning. In response, Rude demonstrates that sometimes actions speak louder than words by headbutting the narcissist elf. Rude wins the fight by pinning Abert down the same way he did to Magnus, chucking the sword close to Abert's head. Back to the Bologna Guild. The Bologna Guild Master is having a thorough discussion with the Lord and Guild Master of the Golar City regarding the destruction of Abellio Labyrinth. Lankars informs the guest that the feudal lord is currently on official business at the capital, and so he was entrusted with the role of his deputy. After this, Lankarsi says that he has understood Golar's claims. Since they were in charge of the management, they intend to fully cooperate with their efforts to recover from the damage. The Lord states that Golar doesn't need cooperation, they want compensation, a fair amount of money for their ownership of the labyrinth. He further adds that the authorities of Bologna have become greedy and took more than what they deserved, and that's why they need to pay the appropriate price. Suddenly, a female worker barges into the office and reports that something strange is happening in the Abellio Labyrinth, which was confirmed to have completely collapsed. The surrounding area of the Abellio Labyrinth is covered with an unprecedented amount of mana, and its concentration is B rank. Currently, 2 gargoyles are guarding the entrance. They are preventing any interference from the outside. Guildmaster Lankars remarks that this isn't the time to entertain the petty squabbles of Golar. He states that he is going to organize a subjugation force and immediately head to Abellio New Labyrinth to investigate. He orders the woman worker to summon every B rank or higher adventurer, even Rude too. When everyone has gathered at Lankars's office, he explains that they have confirmed the beginning of the labyrinth cycle, and the reason adventurers were summoned is that they want to subdue this cycle as soon as possible. The Guildmaster's emphasis on the labyrinth cycle makes Rude question Alicia what the labyrinth cycle is. She explains that the labyrinth cycle causes labyrinth to evolve, though it's a pretty rare case and she has only heard about it a few times. In other words, she will also be going to an evolving labyrinth for the first time. However, Alicia is concerned about the B rank mana around the labyrinth. Rude thinks that it won't be a problem because he is B rank. Moreover, they are being accompanied by A ranks. Ebert seems to have heard Rude and Alicia's conversation. He approaches Rude and tells him that he must not underestimate the gravity of the situation. Ebert explains that if the concentration around the Abellio Labyrinth is B rank, then the concentration of mana inside the labyrinth is at least A rank. In the worst-case scenario, the mana can be S rank. Alicia also adds hearing about the labyrinth's evolving stages through the reports, like a chrysalis. If this chrysalis emerges, the surface will be flooded with mana. And since Golar and Bologna are in the range, the possibility of receiving catastrophic damage is very high. Lankars motivates Rude, remarking that there have been very few labyrinth cycles, and there are many mysteries left unsolved. He reassures Rude that these are all just needless worries. Since Rude cleared the dungeon originally, Lankars says that he will be counting on him. Later, the chosen adventurers make it to the labyrinth. Outside, the gargoyles are guarding the place, just like the woman worker from the Bologna Guild reported. The gargoyles are level 50 monsters with their status concentrated on endurance. They possess multiple skills, some of which Rude already possesses. After using the appraisal, Rude is convinced that these monsters are stronger than rolling beetles. Unexpectedly, Gargoyles glances at Rude, who initially thought that the monsters wouldn't attack him because they were out of range. However, both guards charge toward Rude and his fellow adventurers. When the monsters use Petrifying Breath, Sylphide comes in clutch and erases the enemy's attack. However, it manages to get out of the attacking range and targets Alicia. Luckily, Lankar saves her from the gargoyle that was charging at her, while the other gargoyle is cut in two by the Golar Guild's guildmaster, who comes to help. The guildmasters from both regions order the adventurers to follow their lead. Rude is tempted to look at the gargoyle. He wishes to eat it, but relents when he learns that the monster has regenerative abilities. When attempting to burn the monster with its regenerative abilities, Rude's actions are questioned by the Golar Guild's guildmaster. The adventurers continue their journey inside the Abellio Labyrinth. Only a few days ago, the labyrinth had excess miasma in its atmosphere, but now the density of miasma is less, indicating that the nature of the labyrinth has changed. Rude points out that the shape and layout haven't changed that much. Alicia replies that regardless of whether there have been changes or not, they still need to be careful. They don't know what's going to happen when they get to a deeper layer. Whether the dungeon's layout changes or not, the monster's strength growth is inevitable. The adventurers are welcomed by a bunch of ugly monsters. Lankarsi chooses to fight the big one, the boss of those ugly monsters, and orders the rest to prepare to fight the tiny ones. The Golar Guild's guildmaster activates his special skill, Warrior's Honor, which allows the adventurers around him to have increased physical attack power. When the battle between humans and monsters begins, humans appear to have a bigger hand in the fight. Meanwhile, Rude discovers that Warrior's Honor didn't work on him. His abnormal status nullification skill nullified the buff. Lankars has chosen his opponent. It's the boss of those ugly monsters. Despite being the guildmaster, Lankarst looks like an ideal tank, dealing damage whenever he gets the chance. His battle against the boss is